Hello guys, this is FX Bright, the trade guru. So as a beginner, there are three things you need to know. The first one is your support and resistance. The other one is your candlesticks. Then the other ones are your simple patterns. Now, this is very easy. As a beginner, once you're able to learn these three things, well, like I said, your support and resistance, your candlesticks, then your simple patterns. Now, just learning these three things alone can make you a very good trader. So now the first thing as a beginner trader, learn how to spot your support and resistance zone. Now take a look at this chart, for instance. What you would see is that the market, if you look at this place, for instance, is there a reason why price came here, found a resistance, right? So I told you a resistance is that point where price is going to find some sell pressure. So you can see the market was buying up to this point, got to this side, found some sell pressure and started coming down. Now the market also came all the way around this same point, found another sell pressure and start coming down. Now if you look to the left, you will see how the market somewhere around this same point found some sell pressure. Now this point becoming a point where price will find sell pressure has automatically entails to you that point is filled with sellers, so it becomes a resistance zone. So as simple as this is, all you have to do when you see something like this is most likely to just zone the area, right? It's just to zone the area. What I mean by zoning is just put a tool there to help you realize that point is a resistance zone. So all you probably want to do is go to the future. Now you can see how this same point in the future held price down. Now as simple as this is, why do people not lose? So you can see how the market was able to come up and got to somewhere around that same zoned area. Remember, I zoned it from without even knowing about that previous place, and just to project it into the future, and you can see how price was able to come around that place and found a very good sell. Now why is it possible that some people will come again to lose this particular trade? Right? Because all I needed to do was found this point, and understand that this is a resistance area, project it to the future, come around here and just wait for price. So anytime price was making the buy here, I'm around here waiting for it. So as price came up all the way to this point, I knew that place would potentially bring price down, and which you can see how price was able to come down for a while. Now remember, this is a 4 hours time frame, so you can understand how this move would have given you good pips. Now the question is, this point has become a resistance area. Now what people do not understand is, when I say find your support and resistance area, you have to know, for instance, if you're coming to this point to sell the market, where is your exit point? Your exit point should be another support area. So if this is a resistance, then you have to exit at support. Now if you look at the left of the market to this point, you will see how this point has been a support for the market. Why I say support is because look at this point, for instance. Price bounced off this point, came up, broke it. It came all the way down to this same point. If you check this line, price was here a while ago, came down, so obviously you know that here resisted price. So price tried to break this a couple times and could not, then eventually broke it. But this place served as a resistance to price. And the saying in Forex is that the resistance will become the support in the future, while the support always becomes resistance. So in the future, when price was able to break this particular point, this point will also serve as resistance in the future. So if I was here and I saw market doing all these gymnastics here, so all I'm going to do is I just bring up my zone tool and just draw the zone area to spot out the resistance. And when I map it out, you will now begin to see exactly the reason why price had to come to this point and bounce up. Remember, I was able to know that price will sell just by finding good resistance on this particular point. And when I came to this side, I saw the market got close to this resistance zone and started selling. Now, how do I know when to exit the market? I know when to exit the market still by looking at my left to find good support areas, or areas that has become support or resistance in the past, which is like this point, this point, this point. You can see how price was reacting to this side. So obviously here, I know if I was selling here, I need to exit here. Why? Because there will be buyers around this place to also push the market up. And now when the buyers were able to push the market up, I still know that the people that sold this market at this point were still there. So the sellers pushed the market down all the way to this support zone. The buyers who were previously here, they were here. Remember, they are still here, right? So they being here were able to push the market up again. So they pushed the market up, but the sellers that were here has not left. So those sellers, remember, I'm still supposed to extend my lines all the way to the future, and there is no point where I will stop extending this line. So just to tell you, this line, as you can see, this particular zone area, you can extend it for the next 10 years. It will still be playing a role. It will still be playing a role. Any line you draw in the chart, you can extend it to the next 10 years. You can keep extending it until you will see that price will always get there and play a role. Okay, so anyways, you can see how the market was able to come to this side, found a resistance, this same resistance that were here, and they found the same resistance here, pushed the market down. They were finally able to break this, but because they broke it doesn't mean that the people have exited the market. If you still project it to the future, you would also still see how when the market broke it, came all the way down to this point. These guys that were buying the market here, they were still here. They never left. So because the market is coming down here, they will change their position to sell, because they initially, when they were here, they would have hit a stop loss for a sell position. So when the market is coming down here up to this point again, they are going to try to position a sell here. So they being resistance, they being support at this particular point, resistance at this, so they are still here. The people in the market are still here. So when the market broke and is coming all the way back to this point, at this point you start selling again. So that's why I said, as a new trader, all you need to know is your support and your resistance zone. That will take away 25% of all the issues you're probably going to have in the future when it has to do with trading. If you can spot support and resistance zone, I'll be honest with you, you have no problem. Now, there are two different kinds of support and resistance. You see the one I'm drawing right now, which is the horizontal support. What people do not understand, again, you can see this is just straight line support and resistance, right? What people do not understand, again, is that there are two kinds of support and resistance. There is a support and resistance that has to do with trends, right? So while you're dealing with the vertical and horizontal support, you have to keep in mind that there are also some support and resistance that are diagonal in nature. So that's the reason why most people don't know how to trade. They just find a way to find and get an indicator for themselves, because they do not want to do the work. Now, just look at this part for instance. As price was here, you can see there is a reason why price bounced off this point, and bounced off this point. There is a reason it did that. Why is it that this point, and this point all seem to be inclined at an angle? This is called the diagonal resistance. In other words, if I'm able to draw a line from this point and connect it all the way to this side, you will see that I have been able to project a diagonal resistance. What I'm saying, a diagonal support. What I'm saying is price bounced here. I definitely know that the time price is going to come here, and these guys are going to, this resistance here, remember it was a support here. These guys that resisted price here, resisted price down. I definitely know that these guys that are in the angular support are most likely going to push price up. And one thing you're going to find out, if you check my other video, I try to tell you about confluences. So if you can be able to see the guys that are in the diagonal support confluencing with the guys that are in the horizontal support, forget about it. The price is about to move in a certain direction that those guys want it to move. For instance, if you look at this point, if you consider this point, for instance, if you trace this point, remember there's a diagonal resistance here. a diagonal support, sorry, here, here, and here. But if you look to the left, you will see also a horizontal support. In other words, price came here, found a resistance. You can see it hit it, came down, hit it for the second time, came down, broke it, came down, and hit it again. So you can tell that in this particular zone, there is a support and resistance going. So if I'm able to come to this point to draw a zone, what you will see is very clear. You will see that at this point, which was a diagonal support, which was a diagonal support before, there is also a horizontal support here, which all confluenced at this point. So who told you that when price is coming down, price is not going to bounce? Remember, this is now even a confluence of support. There are two people, heavily loaded people, trying to buy the market. Some are from this diagonal, some are from this straight line. All of them met at this time T. When they buy the market, just know that it is going to break. This guy, he doesn't have enough energy to withhold these people. Can you see why this particular time, when price bounced off this point, it was able to go straight away to break this? It broke this not because it's not strong, but because the confluence of two people met here, and the power they had was stronger than what this guy could hold. So the price went up, broke it, and came all the way here. And you see, when price came all the way to this point again, these diagonal guys also met with the guys that were here. And all of them said, no, we have to push price up. Price tried his best to go down, but they said, no, we are pulling you up. So what they did was that they were able to push price up, and price came all the way here. Now, if you look at this, if I extend these lines up, for instance, you can see what happened. Now, these guys in the diagonal were alone here. That's why they were not strong. So you can see this diagonal line that traveled all the way from here. Now he's here alone, so he's not strong. There is not enough support and resistance on this other end to parley with him. And now there is a double top here. So this double top is very, very strong on the sell side. So him alone can withstand them. And remember, previously he had the confluence of this guy coming from here. He had the confluence of these other horizontal guys coming from here. But when he came to this point, he was alone. That's why price was able, the double top 1 2 was able to push him down, break him. He tried to resist for a while, he couldn't, and it broke it. This guy, now these ones are alone. Remember, they had this one here, they had this diagonal with them. Here they had the diagonal with them. Here diagonal have already gone past them, and now they are alone. So price, needless, just had to break them. You understand? So they were not strong enough to hold price. So just an understanding of the support and resistance that goes on in the price chart can really change the way you think about trading. Trading is not that difficult. It's just about the way, because you've not taken your time to really understand these things. And also, guys, if you want a one-on-one mentorship where I tell you, where I begin to teach you every single details you want to know about the trading chart, you will be blown away. You can almost never make a loss. And I tell you this for a fact. I use almost because, of course, you're a human. But you can almost never make a loss if you understand the trading pattern, the chart itself, because the market is talking to you every time, but you're not listening. Everything the market was going to do, it did it, but it told you before it did it, but you never listened. So if you really want to know more about this chart details, do contact me. But I'll be making more series on this video so you can understand some of these things. All right, so I hope this video was helpful to you. I will see you guys in my next video.